What is up, everybody? Welcome to Courageously Encouraged. I'm so glad that you're here. If you're new here, thank you for tuning in. And if you're returning, well, welcome back. Okay, so today I have a really important and kind of emotional story to tell you about. It's about avascular necrosis. It's a disease that really affected and changed my whole life. And so before I get into that, I want to just give you a little background and insight on who I am as a person and kind of like what has driven me over the years. And one of the main things in my life that's been one of the most important things in my whole life is basketball. I have loved basketball literally since I can't even remember, just since I could remember. And so I've been playing basketball almost my whole life. And in basketball, one of my favorite things to do was jumping. I loved to jump as high as I could. I loved to jump up and try to block a shot. I loved to jump up and try to touch the net when I was young, and then the backboard, and then the rim, and then when I could, dunk. And so, I spent my whole life, especially since a little kid, going to the park and seeing the older kids, they jump up and they grab a leaf off a branch, or they jump up on, some steps or something, or on a bench at the park, and you say, whoa, I want to be able to do that. And even extended to when you're in elementary school, you watch Winnie the Pooh or something, Tigger. That was my guy. That was my dude because he was a jumper. Okay. And so pretty much my whole life, I just wanted to jump high. And, as I got older, I did get pretty athletic. Maybe I wasn't necessarily the most athletic guy, but I was definitely athletic enough to jump pretty high. And, my vertical jump at the best was probably in the 30 inches, 30, 32 inches, something like that. So that was pretty good. And it was definitely enough to dunk here and there. And here's a picture of me jumping. I think that's a pretty high jump. That was pretty good. And here's some I'm just messing around, just trying to dunk, just real simple, just messing around. So as you can see, I was a relatively athletic guy. There's some proof, you know what I'm saying? I said I was. Here's some proof, whatever. I don't have any video from when I was my most athletic, which was in high school, end of high school, early college, because, some of y'all youngins don't know we ain't always had smartphones, super good smartphones with super good cameras, not like these crazy phones today, So we had those Metro PCS, just crappy phones that you could pretty much just text people. You really couldn't, you could take pictures, but they weren't great. And so moving forward, so that's, basketball just had such a profound impact on my life. I grew up kind of rough in certain areas. So basketball was a go-to. If I was having a rough day or things at home were a little crazy, I would go and play basketball for as long as I could. I mean, I'd be out there for 6 hours until the sun came down, playing by myself, even if I had to. And so here's where I'm going to transition, though, the story where things get a little hectic and crazy. So in 2017, things started taking a turn from the worst out of nowhere. I just started having a lot of pain in my hips. I mean, there were even times I would collapse on a basketball court, just trying to cut real hard to one side, and I would fall. My legs would give out. And, obviously I've had sports injuries before, so I just thought, this is another sports injury, nothing big. So we take a few weeks rest and then get back to playing. And I kind of went through that cycle for a while. And the thing that really pushed me to go to the hospital and get this thing actually checked out was Hurricane Irma had come. And that was basically in September of 2017. And I had been cooped up in the house for about 4 days. And I looked down the street, and the hurricane somehow did not knock the basketball hoop down. And there's a bunch of kids playing. So I'm like, all right, I got to go play. I've been cooped up in the house forever. And it was crazy. I actually dunked in the game of 21 in that game. I don't know. Something was special that day. That was one of the few times I've ever dunked in a game of 21 ever. And so I was pretty happy about that. Went back to the house, went to sleep that night, woke up the next day, tried to get out of bed. I'm talking about literally fall flat on my face. My leg completely gave out. It was like that game of basketball was the last straw for my legs. So I'm like, all right, I really got to take this seriously and go get this checked out. So I go to the orthopedic. We both think it's just some kind of he's the expert. I thought it was a sports injury. He agreed. We said, let's get an MRI. Get the MRI. 2 weeks later, he calls me and tells me I need to come in for the results. And I was like, oh, that's not good. That's never good to call someone in to come get the results. So I go in to get the results, and he shows me on my MRI. This is what it looked like. Now, if you can't tell, those red circles, that's not good. Basically, what he told me is that I had avascular necrosis. This is a disease basically where I'm getting a lack of blood flow to my hip balls, and those hip balls, like my hip bones, are literally dying and deteriorating to the point where my hips want to collapse in on themselves. Basically, what he tells me is this basically means you're done. Sports are done. No more basketball, nothing. Like, you're going to be lucky if you can even just walk without pain and not have to use a walker or a wheelchair for the rest of your life. Now, see, the thing is that this disease is pretty bad. I mean, Bo Jackson, who was crazy athletic, crazy amazing athlete, this completely destroyed his career. He was somebody who had it, and Brett Favre even had it in his later ages, or I don't know, he had it at some point, and it definitely had an impact on his career. So, I'm not a professional athlete, but yeah, it had quite an impact on me, and so just moving forward, he basically said, look, there's nothing we can do for you at your age. You know, I was 25 at the time. He said, for a 25-year-old, there's nothing we can really do because the main thing that they do for this is they do a hip replacement. Now, that's not something they want to do until I'm much older, maybe 40s, 50s, 60s. And so basically between the time now and then, I was going to be dealing with a whole lot of pain and wasn't going to really be able to live kind of a normal life up to then. So this is when things get really sad, because I remember driving back, I was totally devastated. I just told you about how basketball literally was one of the most important things to me my whole life. I mean, just watching basketball, playing it, talking about it, thinking about it, playing 2K on the the Xbox, like loved basketball, just reading about it, trying to get better. And to the point where Jay would always joke with me. She would always ask me, Jay, my girlfriend, if they offered you an NBA contract, would you drop out of college? I was like, what? Are you kidding me? That's my true love. This is just because I'm apparently smarter than I am athletic. I don't know. So I'm just doing this thing. And so I remember giving her a call. I was in the parking lot at school, and I called her up, and I told her basically the news. And we both were just crying quite a bit on the phone. Didn't really know what my future looked like. Didn't really know what it really meant for me. Especially just given such kind of a bad diagnosis without really a whole lot of not like here's a bad diagnosis, but here's what we're going to do to fix it. Okay, so moving forward, we began to pray for my healing, obviously, just prayed and prayed and prayed and prayed. And one of the things that God actually did lead us to was a surgery at Duke University in North Carolina. This is a very good surgery done by very good surgeons. But they don't just do it on anybody. You have to have you have to check all these boxes. You have to be good health and otherwise beside your hips, good health. You have to basically not too far along with the AVN. You have to be in the early stages of AVN. So you had to have caught it early. And so luckily we had caught it early. I was only in stage 2. Stage 3 and 4 is hip collapse. You're done. You got to get hip replacement. That's all they can do. So I send in my application fee. I send in my insurance information, and we get approved. So happy. And I just have to give a shout out to these beautiful people, Jade and my mom, who accompanied me. Basically, I need someone to take me up there. 10-hour drive to North Carolina. And we had to get this surgery. I had to get 2 of these surgeries, one on the right hip, one on the left hip, called a free vascularized fibular bone graft. That's a hard one to say. Say that 5 times fast. Or don't. It's okay. So basically what they do here is, here's a picture of my lower leg, a picture of a lower leg. And what they do is they take about 6 inches of the fibula and a major artery. They drill up into the hip and they scoop all that bone tissue out and they put that bone up there. So basically, yeah, it was painful. Talking about 5 hours of surgery for each leg. We did one at a time. We did one in February and one in June of 2018. And it was 7 days of recovery in the hospital. And so one of the things that I had to do before I could leave is I had to be able to learn how to get out of the bed while I'm recovering from this. Because it was going to take 6 months of healing for each leg. And so I had to learn how to walk on a walker. I had to learn how to walk in crutches, go up the stairs. And so here's some actual video footage from the hospital. And so here you can see me trying to get out of bed. Unbelievably painful, unbelievably difficult. Here's some video. Here's some footage of me trying to get up on the walker and then start walking on the walker.
It's a huge upper body effort, isn't it? Getting up. Yeah. Okay. How's the left leg doing? Okay. Good. Good. Turn toward the right. Turn toward the right. We're going up the hallway. Good. Take your time. Take your time. Breathe. What? Breathe. What? Breathe.
It burns.
Oh. Breathe. Okay. Can you stay focused, or do we need to go back to the bed? Okay. All right. Then keep your head up.
Keep your head up.
Nice deep breaths. Forward step. Forward step. Get your balance. Forward step.
You got this,
You're
Sean.
doing good. Okay. All right. You ready? How much further do you want to go before you sit? Okay. Keep going then. All right. Keep going then. You got this. You got this. Good. Tell us when you're
Good
ready.
job,
Cheers,
John.
Okay. Beautiful. Very good. Keep the breathing going. Ready to sit? Hold on.
Y'all don't even know how good it felt to sit down in that chair after that. My leg was literally on
Good.
fire.
Lower yourself gently. Good, good.
You got it. You got it.
Chair, you've got probably about 6 or 7 steps. Ready? Crunches and step. Do it. Do it. Get your balance. Crunches and step. Keep your balance. Good. Ready? Crunches.
And then here's some video of me trying to get up these stairs. I mean, unbelievable. Remember, I had to do this twice. I had to do this, recover for 6 months, and come back and do it again. And basically, here's some of the results of the after effects. You can see here are some of the scars from the surgery. Here's one of my super swollen legs. And here's the x-ray, so you can see those fibulas grafted into my hips. And then one of the things I had to do at home that made this so difficult is I had to do about an hour of PT 3 times a day. Unbelievably hard. And here's some footage. Here's some of the footage of me doing it. Here's me doing some leg lifts. I mean, this is all I could do. This is all I could lift my leg up at that time. And then here's some footage of me one of the first times I was able to kind of weight bear on that leg after having that surgery. So all in all, it was each hip was 6 months of just pain and agony. I mean, when I had the surgeries, I had to have anesthesia, I had to have epidural, they were on Dilaudid, oxycodone, all kinds of liquid Tylenol, all kinds of stuff to just mitigate this pain. Unbelievable pain. Super hard surgery. I'm grateful to God that when I left, I didn't take any painkillers. I just dealt with the pain because I really didn't want to develop any kind of issue. And I didn't want to even give it a chance to develop any kind of addiction to this medicine. So I didn't even take any when I got home. And so basically from January 2018 to December 2018, I was literally on crutches. I was on a crutches walker or a wheelchair. I had to have people pick me up, take me around, help me out, feed me, taking showers and baths and going to the bathroom. I mean, I was literally like an infant again. It was one of the hardest things I've ever been through. But I'm thankful for God of keeping me focused during that time, because it was a time where I honestly even wanted to die. I mean, I couldn't do the things that I had done most of my life to help deal with my stress and just make me feel good. I loved basketball, and I couldn't do those things at all, let alone at any kind of a high level. And so it was very difficult to go through this. And I really had to learn to lean on God in this time, because I didn't have the things that I normally had gone to in my childhood to help me through hard times. And so it really helped me develop a really deep bond an intimate relationship with God, honestly. And you know, I end up at the end of it being even grateful that I went through it, because I feel like it had made me a better person on the inside. I know outwardly, there's a Bible verse that says, outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly our spirits are being renewed day by day. And I literally saw this. I felt like my body was just falling apart, but inwardly my spirit was getting stronger. I was more forgiving, I was more loving, more compassionate, more caring for others. So, you know, all in all, it ended up strengthening on the inside. And then the surgeries, you know, as I'll show you, did actually really help me. And so here's some footage a little bit later. This was in 2019, so this was probably about 6 months after I had been able to walk again. Here you can see me jumping on the jump box. I mean, that's a pretty good jump. I'm not gonna lie, it's a pretty high jump. Even having had, even if I had not had any surgery, I thought it was a pretty good jump. Here's some footage of me, you know, getting some dribbles in, getting some shots up. And then here's finally some video of me dunking. It's a low rim, but you know, that's pretty good.
Oh, that's a pretty good.
I just want to say thank you so much for listening to this story. It was really emotional to go through all this footage, go through all this video. Even making this video kind of made me cry and tear up a little bit, to be honest, just going through it. But I think it was good. It was definitely healing to re-deal with all this stuff and just say like, wow, I can't believe what I went through. I can't believe what I came out of, and I can't believe where I am now. And I'm just so grateful to God for keeping me, you know, and just keeping me focused. And I'm just so grateful. And I'm so thankful for you guys listening to this story. I mean, there was a lot more that I want to get into kind of like spiritually that happened to me during this time, but I'm going to say that for another video. This is just mainly going to be the story, the timeline, you know, the overall, you know, what happened. But thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you continue to stay safe. I'm praying for you. Watch out for Corona. Watch out for Rona. She's vicious. Believe it. Stay safe. Do what you got to do. Pray. Love y'all. Bye. Boom.